All right. Happy Tuesday, y'all. This is Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. You are here on another episode today. We got another guest and two great people in the community doing some things and shaping our city. I just want to have them come in and introduce themselves and get right to it. You know, that's what we like to do here. Oh, before we do that, I'm sorry. Look, man, look.
I'm giving you the look all the way.
I seen the look.
Did you see that? Did you?
I caught that
it?
last glare. Like,
Did you feel
I felt it. Yeah, you heard me say, "Oh," I'm like, "Ow." All right, my bad. Yeah, my bad, Joe.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. My co-host with me.
Yeah, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves first. Brian.
Yeah, Brian Sanders, community outreach organizer for Wisconsin Voices. Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Joe Dre, policy director for Wisconsin Voices. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today, our topic is going to be affordable housing, and I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it, kind of like we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm ask our guests to go ahead and introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves and their organization.
You first.
Thank you. Sounds great. We're really happy to be here. We are here on behalf of Revitalize Milwaukee. And before I jump into it, I'll let my colleague introduce himself.
So my name is Dan Cross, and I am the construction and lead specialist for Revitalize Milwaukee.
Yeah, you coming. All right. Oh, wait. We need your introduction, though.
I just thought
right.
about that.
You about to get right to business.
I'm
Yeah.
going to jump right into business. Cut right to the
All right.
chase.
Yeah. Tell the folks who you are first, and then you can get strictly on business.
Okay. My name is Melanie Roach, and I'm the CEO of Revitalize Milwaukee.
All right. Thank y'all for coming. Thanks for coming to Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. All right. Let's go ahead and get it started then.
All right.
Go ahead, shoot. Let's do it.
Go ahead. All right. You tell me a little bit about the current. We want to talk about the current state of the affordable housing in Wisconsin. What's kind of been your view of it, and kind of the broad stroke of affordable housing and housing in Wisconsin?
Awesome. Well, that's definitely a very interesting topic. You mind if we tell you first of all who Revitalize?
Sure.
Milwaukee
Yeah.
is?
Absolutely.
Melanie?
So Revitalize Milwaukee is a nonprofit, and we focus on providing critical home repairs for low-income seniors, veterans, and people living with disabilities. We also work with lead abatement and asthma causing issues in the home.
Severe asthma.
Severe asthma causing issues in the home. And we also have a workforce development program. So the whole goal and mission of Revitalize Milwaukee is to keep people safely in their homes as long as possible. We see our homeowners as people that have invested back into the community and want to stay in their homes. And if we can do this block by block, we can build more stable communities. So that is the whole goal. And we've seen it work. We have absolutely seen it work.
Awesome, Brian.
Yeah. All right. What do you see some of the biggest barriers to accessing affordable housing in the state? Just from, both of your point of views. I know y'all are on two different, parts of the playing field.
Yeah.
So if you want to go first before you get to your CEO, but what do you see so far? I know you out there a lot.
I am actually. When it comes specifically to critical repairs, a lot of it has to do with just the construction and renovation costs. Everything has been inflated extremely high, and I think we're seeing historically some of the most highest inflation, specifically on the construction side, and that hurts homeowners drastically in order to be able to get to those materials. Outside of that, though, I do see it as being limited housing stocks. We're not seeing a lot of homes being built actually right now, or they are being built and they're just sitting there for a really long time. Insufficient funding for affordable housing. There's not a whole lot of that really going around, and it's very limited. Specifically in the city of Milwaukee, we see a lot of zoning and regulatory barriers occurring a lot, and just a long waiting list of housing vouchers and assistance in the city of Milwaukee.
All right.
I'm going to talk a little bit, if it's okay, about the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Wisconsin overall is currently facing significant challenges in providing affordable housing to its residents. A report indicates that the state needs to construct at least 140,000 housing units by 2030 to meet current demand. The shortage has affected marginalized communities, and these groups often struggle to find quality, affordable housing, leading to increased competition for limited units and, in some cases, homelessness. And then, as Dan talked about, it's further exacerbated by rising prices. So there was just a report that came out. The median home price in Milwaukee right now is $330,000. That was as of February 2025,
Mhm.
reflecting a 14.5% year-over-year increase. So this is attributed to a lot of different things. It's investors coming in and swooping up the properties. And that's something that really has to be addressed, because these people that are swooping in don't have a vested interest in our communities.
Mhm.
Right.
The homeowners, the businesses. So that's one of the main problems that we see.
Okay.
Just as before you go
Mhm.
to the next question, I did see a random New York, I want to say Post article speaking about cities that has a booming real estate, or like with all the open market, with all the vacant properties, and it was on New York Post, and it was so many comments underneath it. A lot of people, but I was just surprised at how many people were just like, caught up in even for New York to even have that on there talking about the current state of, and that's what you think about is all these investors. And I've heard about some of these big companies, I'm not saying any names, but some big companies that a lot of people have heard about across the country swooping in, like you said, and taking advantage of the opportunity. I just want to add to
Yeah.
that. Thank you though.
Yeah.
Definitely. If I could just add
No,
to that.
yeah, absolutely.
To go back to your initial question
Mhm.
before we got introduced. You're totally right. That's an opportunity for these corporations. But anytime it's an opportunity for them, it's a crisis for us.
Mhm.
That's where we at currently here in the city of Milwaukee, state of Wisconsin as a whole. We are currently in a housing crisis. And when you have our economy having a deficit as far as debt and everything, and the amount of debt so many Americans have been acquiring now. I mean, if you look at it, Americans spend 30% of their income on their homes. So we are in a crisis right now.
I would say at least.
Yeah.
Some more, some a lot
It's
more.
probably
than
more
others.
than that.
Whew.
Too now,
No.
but you spend about 30%,
Yeah.
over 30% of your income in your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did want to add that Mayor Johnson has been really great about recognizing
Mhm.
that we do have these investors coming in
Mhm.
and trying to buy our properties, and putting together plans of how we can stay strong and make sure that our parents or our grandparents or our neighbors can stay safely in their homes for as long as possible. So he's on our team.
Definitely.
Yeah. And how does that really negatively affect the communities when these large corporations come in and buy up a bunch of land and then they start developing it? How does that hurt members of the community, or how does that adversely affect them?
Well, they have no skin in the game, really. When you look at it, they buy it up, they will invest some money in it, and then they'll increase the rates for their rentees. And a lot of people can't afford that. I mean, as Dan talked about, people, especially today, are struggling to make ends meet. So, whether it's a mortgage or whether it's a rental payment, if somebody comes in and their concern is not keeping the neighborhood intact, they're going to do a quick makeover and then raise the rents. And that benefits no one. That benefits no one that has put time, energy, and has grown up in a certain neighborhood that they really care about. And we see that all across Milwaukee.
Yeah, for sure. Can you tell us a little bit about about how housing instability impacts the quality of life for people?
I can take that one. Think about it. Think about when you go home, okay? When you drive into your driveway or pull up on the street, most of us, when we go into our house, we can flip a switch and we have the lights go on. We can turn on the water and there's hot water or cold water. You can take a shower or bath. Think of not having those things that we take for granted every single day. And your home is your safe spot. I mean, that's where you are you. I mean, and you need that. Every person needs and deserves that. So when your home is in crisis, so whether there's critical repairs that an elderly person or a veteran or a person living with a disability can't afford, it's going to affect their physical and mental health. Okay, things like their stress and anxiety, their physical health, and then their lack of stability for their children. I mean, that's one example. Then it impacts their access to education. Look at what frequent moves do to children, how hard that is. And I've been at talks where people have said, they've been moved 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times as they were growing up and going to different schools. And no matter how confident you are, that moving and moving and moving and always being the new kid.
David Crowley's an example of that.
So is Mayor Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, both moved from place to place. And I love that they share that. And I love that they share how hard it was for them, how devastating it was for them. Mm-hmm. And then, you talk about the children facing instability, the disruptions to learning, the financial instability, the increased financial stress, and then the barriers to employment. If you're in a community and that's where you live and have your connections, can you move out of that and still get a job? And then, the elephant in the room is the increased possibility of homelessness and what that does to your mental and physical state of thinking from day to day, I won't have a place to call home. It's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. And it doesn't seem to be that big of an ask that we all have a safe spot to call home. And what is that going to take?
Right.
Could also add to that, a lot of our clients are also elderly, disabled people. So when you have where you're in a housing crisis, especially when it comes to like critical repairs and all, that can become unsafe for those elderly people. They're living in a home that's deteriorating, and they're living with a disability. So think how hard it is for them to try to go take a shower, and they can barely get out their bed, and they need all these different support and of items, like a grab rail or things like that. So when we don't have the access, to be able to make improvements to those homes, it can become dangerous for these people too.
Yeah, you think how hard it is, just in a regular home without all those obstacles, without all those things that are in disrepair, but you add those on top of it, it just creates one more barrier for them to face in everyday life. So.
Man, 30-year-olds, we need a grab holder these days or something to hold on. You see now, these millennials and these Gen Zs be playing with their bodies too much, doing too much crazy stuff. Everybody needs something to grab on now to get out the bathtub bed. So, okay, we're on number 5. What role do local governments play in addressing local affordability? Addressing housing affordability, not local affordability.
They play a major role, mainly in a local government. They influence affordability through zoning, building codes, funding priorities, and their role is critical in supporting nonprofit partnerships because, streamlining helps with the permit process. And just allocating funds for repairs and new developments that do meet community needs.
Okay, nice.
I was going to add, I do want to say that Mayor Johnson and then County Executive Dave Crowley are aware of the situation we're in. And County Executive Dave Crowley, who just spoke at an event for Revitalize Milwaukee, said something that I love. He said, let's add a leaf to the table. Let's make that table larger and all come to the table and say we need more. We need more at a local level. We need more at a state level. And we need more at a federal level. And we all have to come to the table and say, how are we going to make this happen? Especially today in the climate that we live in. If we don't take care of each other and our neighbors, we're really in trouble.
Yeah, I saw something earlier this week that said, if you only care about your own rights, then you're probably going to lose them. We all have to care about other people's rights. We
I
always
agree.
have to care about the things that don't necessarily affect us.
Yeah.
So, I'm an able-bodied person, and I have a home, and we have to really be concerned about these things. Not just going on in our city, but through our state and our country as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that you brought that up. I love that you brought it up because it's so easy to put your hand up and say, no, not me, not
Mhm.
me. And I'm going to share a story. And I've shared this story, but it so resonates with what we do and why we do it. A physical therapist who serves one of our communities was picking up a 9-year-old kid from school, picked him up
Mhm.
from the school, and then it was time after physical therapy was going to drop him off at his house, and the little boy said, I don't want you to drop me off at my house. I don't want you to see my house. And he said, the physical therapist said, hey, don't worry about it. I have to take you home and it's no problem. And as he pulled up, this little 9-year-old boy said to him, promise me you won't look at it. And it resonates because, again, what are we doing? If this is how a 9-year-old feels about his home, where he lays his head at night, it's just not okay. And we can't not look at this. I mean, as you mentioned, it's easy. It doesn't affect me. So I'm not really going to concern myself or pretending it doesn't exist. It does exist. I promise you it exists.
Great.
I
So,
got a military saying for that.
go ahead.
We at war whether you know it or you don't.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For real.
So, how do housing challenges disproportionately affect marginalized communities?
Yeah, I'll definitely love to take that question. When I think about that question, only thing I can really think who can really be affected by this is minorities, specifically Black and brown people. But as time has gone on, it's more than that right now. We like I said, we have war whether you know it or you don't. We have a war of classism right now going on. You have the middle and lower class, and then you have that 1% that that pretty much has it all. And this often face historical and system barriers for homeowners. You see things like discriminatory lending happening, lending practices actually, and under investments. So these communities are more likely to live in older homes in need of critical repair, and yet have fewer resources to get those things done. So this is it's affecting everyone drastically. And, I mean, yes, Black and brown people are marginalized, but now we are seeing ourselves right now in a battle of class.
I would agree with that. And that's for sure what we're seeing out there.
Okay. All right.
Where we at? We on 7?
Yeah.
7. How does a lack of affordable housing affect rural communities? Have y'all seen a lot of the rural?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We're in Waukesha, man.
Yeah.
So we don't.
Where was you at? I talked to you one day. You was further out. We got 2. We got dos minutos. Dos minutos, por favor. Gracias. I hope I said that right. I don't want no smoke with the Latin community. Hey man, I know you be over there. Yeah.
I was all the way out in Waukesha in the Strand.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that the Strand in Waukesha is majority Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm. That's like South Waukesha, isn't it? Is that something like South Waukesha?
No, it's
So-
more. It's like a triangle in East Waukesha.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
It's like DC almost.
Oh, for
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
Okay.
it's like a little quadrant setup. and
Really?
everything.
It really
Yeah,
is, yeah.
Okay.
But it's a majority Hispanic community,
Mhm.
but is heavily Trump supported ran over there. But a lot of the people that live in that area are in dire need of critical repair.
Well, and I'm just going to we're talking about Waukesha now, and we're doing a block build in Waukesha in June.
Yep.
And as we were doing outreach with this current climate, it being a heavily Hispanic community, we'd be knocking on the door and you'd see someone pull the blind or pull the window and you'd know that they were home. But they're so scared, and understandably so, to answer their door for fear of what it might be. So we're experiencing that a lot, and that's one thing about Milwaukee, Revitalize Milwaukee. We are on the same team. We are here to stand with you, and we see what's happening out there, and we come from a place of let us make this better with you.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Right.
that. Well, we're gonna take our first break. We got Dan and Melody in the building from Revitalize Milwaukee talking about housing. Your Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, 860 WNOV, 106.5 FM. We'll see you in a minute.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We are Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices on WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. We're having a great conversation today about housing with Revitalize Milwaukee. We're just going to dig right back into this. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
All right. Have there been any effective state level policies that address affordable housing needs? Were they effective, and why?
Oh, heck yeah. Definitely.
You ready to answer this?
Yeah, the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority
Mhm.
and the low income housing tax credit, that has definitely been affected. And these have supported affordable housing development. So however, there is still significant. There's still a gap. When it comes to funding for home preservation and repair. But this is why you have a nonprofit like Revitalize Milwaukee.
Mhm.
Because this is very critical, because those programs have been affected tremendously.
And don't forget, when you're talking about Milwaukee homes, a lot of them are really, really outdated.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the work that needs to be done is real. And we have seniors, low income seniors living in these homes. And if they're living on Social Security, it's not possible to get these critical home repairs done.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What do you do? There is such a need for this work. And that's why today I want to thank you again for having us, because it's so important, that your audience knows that Revitalize Milwaukee is here to help individual homeowners and to build up their blocks and their communities. We are in this together.
Wow. And you talked about older homes. I was previously owned a really, really old home back in Ohio. And I can tell you,
You and I had a
I
conversation
think we did.
about this. Yeah.
and as soon as you tear a wall apart down, or you dig into one thing, there's
Yeah.
5 more things that pop up that you
Exactly.
had
The
no idea
unforeseen
about it.
things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Nothing is level. Nothing is measures out correct.
Mhm.
And it's just, it can be a real pain. And so these things I can imagine get
Yeah.
really expensive for especially seniors on fixed incomes,
Yep.
folks with disabilities, folks that, that face financial struggles. It's just kind of one of those things that gets put out of the back of your head. Like, I'm never going to be able to get to that. I'm just going to have to find a way to
Yeah.
patch it or move on, or maybe you could share some stories or experiences that you've had with that.
Mhm.
Well, absolutely. And I want to also address, don't forget, our low income seniors are not necessarily tech savvy.
Mhm.
So where we see something, let me Google it and see how I can fix it, or what
Mhm.
options are available. They might not have that same ability. So again, they're stuck, and that is not okay. In Milwaukee, we do some roof replacements. And if you look in certain neighborhoods, I'm going to use Lindsay Heights as an example because just on Friday we did a roof replacement. They are 2 stories and incredibly steep. So it's really challenging because in a lot of homes, we can't do the critical repairs until the roofs are replaced because it's damage coming right in there. So it's what comes first. And when you look at roofs, it's such a daunting thought, to a homeowner. And you look at how steep these are and what's it going to cost, and it has to be done.
Yeah. And we face that also in our lead program, ARPA and LSHIP. One is supported by the health department here. A lot of these homes, we deal with homes that are built from 1800s, early 1900s, and a lot of those homes have lead in it. And a lot of those homes are protected by the state and the city from preservation. So, that kind of makes it difficult also to get in here and offer these critical repairs too. Because a lot of these homes are protected by housing authority. Housing authority and historical preservation.
Yeah, I'm just want to piggyback off what you said a little bit, and ask a follow up here. Tell us a little bit first of all about what you guys do with lead abatement and how you help out and getting in there and getting the lead cleaned out. And then again, like what are some of the resources that are available to folks in Milwaukee if they know they have lead in their home, they have lead pipes? How can they go about getting rid of those?
Definitely, there are many ways to find out if your home is in dire need of lead abatement. If a home is built within a certain time frame, majority, I believe it's like 1979, a home built prior to that, it's automatically assumed to have lead. So when it comes to our lead programs, LSHIP and ARPA, they both offer assistance to not just homeowners, but renters. It's one of our programs that we do have on top of our asthma program that offer some critical repairs to renters as well. But with that comes that a child has to be present in that home. So that's main, and that's what the health department main issue is to build a safe home or to renovate a safe home for that child. So the best way to find out if your home does that, they do have self-test kits. You can go around, get a Q-tip, dip it in some water, scrub the wall in your home. And, if it changes a certain color, it's presumed to have lead there. Also, taking your kids to the doctor or to the hospital, getting them tested for lead in their blood. If it's at a certain blood level, I'm not gonna say exactly what level it is. I don't want to get too legal as far as that and everything. But if they do have lead in their blood and it's at a certain level, you can go to the health department and they will help you get free lead abatement. Because now this is it's a safety matter, right. And lead is affecting Milwaukee. A lot of people don't realize it's extremely high. We're going through the same things pretty much like Flint, Michigan is going through. We had that issue a lot longer than them, as far as like with lead in the water and everything like that. And it's very high here. We have been doing a ton of different abatements to eliminate those. And I think the state of Wisconsin, specifically Milwaukee, has done a tremendous job of being proactive and making that happen. But if anyone ever wants to, find out if their home has lead, you can definitely get a self-test kit because it can become costly. Just calling a baiter over and say, "Hey, come test my home." These best inspectors, they charge a lot. But if you have a child in the home, do get them tested. If your home was built before 1979 or before, take your child to the hospital or to the doctor and get them tested for lead in their blood.
Dan, can you tell the listeners what abatement looks like? So what the process is so that they really understand, because when you hear lead paint, it's so frightening.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just not paint also. The pipes and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of lead is a resource that we use for pretty much like everything. It's like, like asbestos. But if the process for it is that, one, you get the child tested for lead in their blood. Then you reach out to either a place like Revitalize Milwaukee, or you can reach directly out to the health department. And what they do, they put you through an pre-enrollment process. What that pre-enrollment process looks like, and this is not income based at all. All we asking for is just to pretty much just give proof if you do have income or not. That's all. But it's not income based at all. That child's information, and this is HIPAA protected as well. So once you go through the pre-enrollment process, then you go through a pre-inspection. That's where someone like me will come to the home, and I'm inspecting that home to have any like structural damage prior to me having an abatement person come in or anything like that, where I can reach out to either you, the homeowner, or your landlord, let them know, hey, you have these issues already that are present. And in order for me to get an abatement team in here, I just need these matters taken care of first. Or, if it's a structural issue, that does become a matter too. But a lot of times we work something out, so they go through that. Then this is a very strenuous process. Once you're done with the pre-enrollment and pre-inspection, you then informed if you qualify for that program and everything. 9 times out of 10, everyone that comes through have qualified for it. Okay. Again, as I stated, this is not income based. It's all about the child. Building a safe environment for that child. Once that happens, then it comes back to me again, and I do a bid walkthrough. I go through, prior to the bid, I hire an inspection team. They come test the entire home for lead, and they send me a full extenuous report. It's like there's sometimes between 30 to 100 plus pages, okay? And it's room by room in the home, testing windows, soil, everything. It's telling me where the lead is present in the home. I get that, and I build a scope of work off of that. I go through it, and then I conduct a bid walkthrough. I invite a bunch of different contractors that are qualified to do lead abatement in the city of Milwaukee, because Milwaukee also has its own standards outside of the U.S. So I get those that are qualified for the city of Milwaukee specific. They make a bid on it. I meet up with the health department, go over that scope of work, ask for if there are any changes they need to occur. I send that scope of work out. They make their bid. Once that happens, I accept the bid. Then I send those contractors in to do their work. They get their permits. I'm always checking with historical preservation here. We're right next door to them.
Oh yeah.
So I'm always checking with them to make sure that property doesn't have any certain protections, because there are homes with lead windows that are historically preserved. A lot of the cool thing in Milwaukee is we have those homes with the different stained glasses and everything. So that's a historical thing in the city. Yeah. So we have good companies that know how to handle those situations, and that's it. Once it's abated, they go through another inspection, and I'm telling that person if their home is lead safe or not.
So I'm going to talk again about looking away, as you mentioned earlier. If you have a child in your home and you think there's any chance of lead paint, I would ask you to please reach out to us. Out to us.
I can come test it for you.
And this is from our hearts. Our children are counting on us to keep them safe. And it's not worth it taking a chance on it, or for sure looking away. It's so serious, and we're here to help you with this. So please accept our hand when we say we want to make this better for Milwaukee, because it really, really is a crisis. And the only way we can make it better is if we address it.
Yeah. I see that thing we have, the Monday and the Tuesday thing is the children, getting back to the children, yesterday with our guests, with the children, and then today, getting back to, the importance, because, cognitively, I know that's important as well, that
that's
lead.
what we live for, man.
Yeah,
we live
exactly.
for
the future.
Kids, so.
Right.
That's what we living for,
Yeah.
to make a better place for our children.
Yeah, and I would say you're a, great father, and I was not just a great father. I mean, like, you like everybody else's kids. I don't like everybody else's kids all the time. Tay has more patience with Dan has more patience with the kids. Like, I definitely respect his patience with them. I don't know if he was that patient this weekend, but what I'm saying. Are we on 9 or 10, Joe? Where we at?
We go with 9. I can take it with it.
Go ahead.
Specifically answer a little bit of that. But
Yeah.
how can we advocate for more funding, not only for affordable housing, but let's also talk about for lead removal, for doing these fixing up these homes for folks that are disabled, for seniors, for people in need. How can we be advocates for that?
We have to hear from you. If for this, you have to advocate for yourself. You have to advocate for your family and your children. So reach out to Revitalize Milwaukee. And I promise you, if we can't help you, we can lead you to resources that can. So advocate for yourself. And I just can't stress that enough, because your voice will be louder than anybody else's. We Revitalize Milwaukee is partnering with a lot of different community partners, and the days of working in silos is over. We have to lift each other up. We have to say we're here for each other, and we can make a better Milwaukee by doing that. Reach out to your government. Mayor Johnson, he wants to hear from you. I mean, and he is doing great things. We are really lucky to have him. And as Dan talked about earlier, both Mayor Johnson and Dave Crawley have lived through everything that we have talked about, moving. And Dave Crawley recently talked about being evicted more than once when he was growing up, and coming home from school and seeing all his family furniture on the front curb, and he said, it's just devastating. It's absolutely devastating. So they get it. They really get it, but they have to hear from you. So make your voices heard. Find out who your community partners are. And reach out to them and say, you know what, this is not okay. We want you to represent us, and we want to be in the room. We want to add that leaf to the table where everybody is sitting and talking about things. Public awareness. When there are housing meetings, show up. If you can't show up, get someone from your family to show up that'll represent you, to make sure that your voice is heard. And then follow us on Revitalize Milwaukee. It's revitalizemilwaukee.org. And we have a lot of tips, a lot of suggestions, a lot of things we're doing in the community. A lot of government leaders that we're having come in and talk to us, and really having those hard conversations, because it's a hard topic. So those are my suggestions for getting involved. Don't listen to this and not do anything. Take it to heart, and know that we'll be waiting on the other side.
Yes. Shout out to Gwen Moore.
Oh, hey, wait. I want to do a huge shout out to Gwen Moore, who has stood with Revitalize Milwaukee in so many ways, and also believes that what is happening is not okay. And in this climate of uncertainty and housing, she is standing right on the front line with us. So one other thing for the audience, please, if you have the time, send Gwen Moore a thank you, or call her office and say thank you for what you're doing for Milwaukee housing.
All right, cool. Thank you. Anything to add to that, Mr. Cross?
No, it starts with ourselves, man. We got to speak up. A closed mouth don't get fed.
Yeah.
I mean, look how these HOAs are moving and everything, and how beautiful that their communities be, and all the things they get done in there on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. We got to operate the same way in these communities. We got to start speaking up for ourselves and saying what we need.
Speaking of HOAs, I seen the HOA because I follow a lot of, me and you, we talk about a lot of just random property stuff, whether it's land or whether it's, totally. A random building. Like even yesterday, I seen a building. I'm like, look at that building. It's got a skywalk spray paint. It's just little stuff I just be seeing because I just appreciate property and structures. But I was looking at an HOA in a Chicago condo. It was an older condo, but they wanted $300K for it. But the HOA was like $750 a
A
month.
year, a month.
Monthly.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how they get you.
Man, it was,
top of
and it
your
was.
mortgage
You know
and
what building this
insurance?
was? Y'all know this building. The old building that was it was either built in like the 50s or 60s, but it was supposed to be modern at the time. It's that I don't want to call it ugly, but it's Chicago, so it's not Milwaukee. It's that ugly building that has those weird looking, like it's concrete looking, that it's right off the river downtown.
I know exactly
You
right when you
got all the riffle, the really rip.
I know
You know,
exactly what you're
that's
talking
so they're
about. Yeah.
restoring, they're remodeling a lot of the apartments in there. So they're all like 500-600 square feet, but they're going for 300,000. And I just seen one that was remodeled. Now all the ones they've been showing, they've never been remodeled. They all look like they've been stuck. Like a lot of them look like they were from like 1968. This was the first one I seen that looked like it was put up for 2023 and 2024, 2025, but it was $300K and they wanted $750 HOA a month.
Well, and I'm going to talk about what Dan touched on is, and I did as well, is advocating for yourself. And a lot of our seniors, if you think of the generations, it's like, oh, I don't want to cause any trouble, or I don't, I'm fine in my suffering, or, I will make it work, as your house is crumbling down around you. It is not okay. And you don't have to do that. So speak up. And if you don't want to speak up, have one of your children's or neighbors speak up for you. Yeah. We want you to be heard. We see you and we hear you, but meet us in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, the advocate for this is highly important. Yes. Myself personally, I haven't worked in the space, but I've been in senior houses across the city for whether it's even canvassing lately. We go through canvas and we canvas certain neighborhoods, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, just being out there with all the work you see. I mean, you see a lot of the seniors, and they're usually at home by themselves, and it's the opportunity. If you're listening, it's an opportunity for the uncles out there, the aunties out there, hey, the grandkids, yourself, get in contact with Milwaukee Revitalize Milwaukee and see where they can assist you at, because this is important for all of us. I mean, to have
don't wait till the winter time to get to seriously. A lot of elderly people who are in need of critical repairs, they are in a dangerous space during cold months and everything.
You mentioned hypothermia.
They're in a dangerous space for all that and everything. And if we can get those things addressed before the winter, we're saving somebody's life.
Could you talk about that for a second? Just real quick about the hypothermia and what or just I know you mentioned that with the elderly, like
it's very important. Hypothermia is very crucial, and you see a lot of it happen with people that live in homes that are pretty much not structurally sounded, and with homelessness too. It happens a lot, and with homelessness. Before, it used to be like 30, 35 degrees. That was considered hypothermia weather in the U.S. Thank God for organizations like Catholic Charities that went and petitioned and got it changed to where now hypothermia weather is considered to start in the 40s, 40-degree weather. But the quicker you can catch it, the better. And like I said, when these elderly people are at home, because 9 times out of 10, the death toll for elderly people goes up in the wintertime extremely.
And in terms of the elderly in Falls, Wisconsin is number one in terms of elderly people falling. So again, it doesn't have to be. I mean, there are critical repairs that we can come in and do for you that will keep you safe in your home.
Yes.
So that's why Revitalize Milwaukee is there for you now.
We got great friends over at First Independence. A lot of people don't know it. Single family homes are not ADA protected. So there's no standard for it. But the good people at First Independence will help revitalize Milwaukee, and they will come out and let you know what things can help assist those elderly people or disabled people also. Most importantly, disabled people. So don't worry, we here.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Was that you want? Yeah, I'm live it up to you, Joe. Go ahead.
All right,
slam it.
Yeah, we talk. You talk about new and affordable housing projects. You talk about the projects that you guys do. How do you make sure? Do you take any steps to make sure that those are sustainable when you do those projects? So if you're going in to do some upgrades, do you try to make them more energy efficient, or do you try to make them, so that it's a little less impact on the environment? Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Definitely. Oh, sorry, I don't need no cue card for that part. So me, my background specifically is project management, construction management. And I follow those 3 pillars. A lot of you might hear from a lot of contractors, a lot big name contractors. I always make sure that place is safe. It's within a budget, but it's also functioning. Safe and functioning are my main 2 priorities and everything. So when it comes time to me write a scope of work or make a recommendation of certain repairs that should be made, I try to look for those products that will last longer and that are energy efficient, because we do go through things like weatherization and all, where we try to find products that will last longer. However, though, we do have stipulations. We try to find, because we are in a tight economy and everything, and but we try to make sure we get those American made products that will last long in those homes, and that are accessible. But yeah, that's where we're at, man. That's all about finding energy efficient products or materials and making sure that home is safe and functioning.
Fantastic. Brian.
All right. I lost my track, man. I was over here getting all right. Yeah. You know what? Go ahead. We got a little time. Okay, we got a little time. Let's do it. We on 11. 11. Just going off with these questions because they're rolling them out. These people came ready to play. I like that. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all. How can affordable housing be integrated into existing neighborhoods without disrupting the community?
You want me to take it or? Okay. We're gonna be disruptors no matter what. You can't get anything done unless you disrupt.
Is that kind of that good trouble that?
Yes, it's a good disruption.
But what's very important is that we engage everyone, specifically those residents. We have to engage everyone. Also, design developments that reflect the community character. There's great people that live in these communities, and unfortunately, the environment may not reflect that. So that's our goal, is to get that environment to reflect these great people that live in these homes. Include mixed income housing models. I lived overseas for so many years and traveled to so many different countries, and to see how these places have developed themselves, and then you come back to America and back specifically to Milwaukee, you're looking, it's like, man, we so far behind, like it's insane. So, including those mixed income designs, and then investing for community. I mean, pretty much investing for improvements to be made in those communities.
And I want to say that for the neighborhoods we're going in for block build, we have signs in front of their house that say, for example, get ready for some high fives and, that a boy. And another one that says, look for tears of joy. So we are changing the way people look at this. Coming in, having revitalized Milwaukee come in and do these critical repairs is a positive. It's not anything to be ashamed about. It should be a celebration that we are making a difference together. So instead of it being a shameful thing, or I don't want to call, pick up the phone and call, and let's celebrate what you're doing to keep your home safe and healthy.
Yes.
Thank you. Well said. Well said. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We're here with Revitalize Milwaukee, talking about housing. Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. Tuesday's episode of Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, 860 WNV 106.5 FM. We're here with Revitalize Milwaukee, just talking about housing. We have to. I guess we have to space. You got a last question for him, Joe?
I get, yeah. I mean, just maybe give us kind of your last pitch. You know, if you're out there talking to not only elected officials but to the public and those folks that really need your services, what would be your final pitch to them and say, hey, come check out Revitalize Milwaukee, see what we're doing.
Give it to the people.
Give it to the people.
Yes, give it to the people.
Here-
They
here-
need this information. This is highly important because
It
we
is.
know so many
So
people,
important.
especially in our community, that need this information. So please sell it.
So our message is we are here and we are here for you and we will stand with you. Absolutely reach out to Revitalize Milwaukee. Low-income seniors, veterans, people living with disabilities. If you have any concerns about lead abatement or serious asthma causing issues, reach out to us. We are ready for you. We are ready for you and are willing and able. So please, please take this opportunity because we are all in this world together and we want to put the kind back into humankind. And the only way we can do that is if we lift each other up. And here's an opportunity to do so. So we'll be waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
How about you, sir?
Oh, you want to tell them about Block Build?
Absolutely. So we have 2 block builds coming up, one in Waukesha in the Strand on June 13th and 14th. If you have any relatives in the Strand, if you want to volunteer, if you want to sponsor, please reach out to us. Milwaukee, we have it on August 15th and 16th. This is a great opportunity for you to see what Revitalize in Milwaukee is all about.
We need volunteers,
Volunteers, good volunteers, we need you.
skilled
And
volunteers
it's a great opportunity. If you know of a roofer that would want to donate his services to keep someone safe in their home, reach out to us. But I'm telling you, the way we can make this happen is by building each other up. And there's tons of work to be done, but there's no doubt we can get it done.
All right.
too. And you can reach us at revitalizemilwaukee.org or freehomerepairs.org. And our office number is 414-312-7531.
Again, I'm going to repeat that, 414-312-7531. We look forward to hearing from you.
Well, that was great. Thank y'all again for coming. Thanks for taking
Sweet.
y'all time out. Keep doing that. Great work is needed in our community.
Thank you for the time.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
thank you,
hosting
guys.
us. We
Yeah.
really
Great-
appreciate you.
Great work you guys are doing in the community. Keep it up and stay in touch
Yeah.
with us.
We
We'd like to hear from
definitely
you
will.
again.
This a regular
Yeah.
thing, you
We,
know?
Yeah.
we appreciate you.
Yeah, of
Man,
course.
we're-
Yeah, y'all let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
We are on Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.
you.
Peace.